Hampshire, the least. And the Canaries are off today. They'll be hosting the Winnipeg.
Good morning and welcome. Great to have you here. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. We're just getting ready to get underway. We're just about 30 seconds or so away. We've got coming up on the program, it's going to be a lighter program this morning. Not as heavy as it has been. There has just been a whole, really serious, significant stories that have been happening in a really short period of time. So we're going to lighten it up a little bit today. We'll be talking about some statewide issues later in the program. So we'll get to the big stories and the usual we normally do. So let's get underway. Here we go.
And worldwide at Kello.com. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
Tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
The Biden administration has a fatal attraction to nutty ideas.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
I love the show.
I don't hate going to work anymore.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It is great to have you along. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Well, the president will be addressing the nation coming up tonight. So he will be addressing the nation from the Oval Office tonight. This will be the first time that he's spoken to us. As you know, he's had reports are that he's had COVID, been suffering from COVID. So he is returning back to work. And he said on X that he would speak about what lies ahead and how he will finish the job for the American people. So this will be at 7 p.m. Central Time tonight. 7 p.m. Central. And if he stays true to form, that'll mean, 8, 9. They don't do a very good job in the Biden White House of staying on schedule. So we'll see whether he does tonight, but he'll be addressing the nation tonight. Also, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley released a video yesterday, shows the shooter, the attempted assassin of Donald Trump, with law enforcement agents up on the roof and just alongside his body. And a number of the videos you can see, and what they've done is they blurred out a portion of his body so you can't see his face, but you can clearly see his legs. You can see the blood that is pooling. And Grassley released this on X, and he demanded answers and accountability. So he said, we need answers ASAP on security failures. And then capital letters. Donald Trump has really kind of set a trend here. Remember Donald Trump? It was speaking in caps, and people are like, they're like quite taken aback by that, distasteful. And now you've got just about everybody speaking in capital letters when they're trying to make a point. So Grassley said, we need detailed answers ASAP on security failures. Transparency brings accountability. So in the video, you can see there are several law enforcement officers and somebody who's wearing a black suit and sunglasses, and they're talking, and an officer points out a rifle that's lying on the roof. It's not clear whether that's the rifle that the shooter had used. You see it on the roof, and you see him. So Senator Grassley has released that video, and Donald Trump talking more about the firing of about the resignation yesterday of Kimberly Cheadle, the Secret Service director. This happened shortly after I got off the air yesterday. In fact, as I was doing the after show, and I do that every morning at 9:30 on YouTube. As I was doing the after show, I had some screens up and I was sharing some of the latest headlines then, and I was following a feed from Fox News, and boom, that popped up that Cheadle had resigned. So this would have been, I don't know, was at least Fox News had it around 9:35 yesterday morning that Kimberly Cheadle has resigned. So Donald Trump is saying she should have been fired within an hour of this event. And Trump told Newsmax in an interview last night, he said she should have been fired, but Joe Biden doesn't fire anybody for anything. And of Cheadle's firing, or resignation, again, he's saying it should have been a firing, and he said it should have happened, I would say, within an hour, not 9 days, 10 days, he said. So did you think that Kimberly Cheadle would resign? I mean, I watched, and we talked about it yesterday, watching that congressional grilling of Cheadle, I just thought, no way, she won't resign. No, I mean, she wouldn't answer questions, so why would she resign? So as I was seeing that yesterday, I'll tell you very candidly, I was quite surprised by that. I did not expect that she would. And there's not much more than that. I mean, she notified staff by email that she was resigning. And it's like, well, it's like one class move after another. You know what I mean? One classy move follows another. But Trump talking about it, he said she left. Probably she left because Biden doesn't ever fire anybody. He didn't fire anybody for Afghanistan. He doesn't fire anybody for anything, which is one of his problems. So that was a rough time, Trump said. And then he said, you know, she had been criticized then for rejecting requests from the Trump campaign for more resources. And Trump, during this interview, said now they have really beefed it up. They should have beefed it up before. I know that we've been asking for them to beef it up. He's talking about his Secret Service detail. This is what Trump is talking about. So now they beefed it up. And Trump said, you know, we have crowds of 40, 50,000, 60,000 people. In New Jersey, we had 107,000 people. And when you have crowds like that, you need more people for the crowd. Forget about me. And for me too, he said, as president, for any president. But you have to have more people. And I know that our people have been asking for more people. He's talking about been asking for more Secret Service agents. So folks in the Trump campaign have been asking for additional Secret Service agents. And Trump said we do it consistently and not getting them. Trump said last night on Newsmax. And Trump said he does feel safe to campaign against Harris moving forward. That was the question. He said, do I feel safe? Yeah, I have to feel safe. Otherwise, I guess I wouldn't be able to do this stuff, Trump said. He said, I made a rally 3 days later in Michigan, and it was incredible. That was an incredible rally, one of the best we've ever had. And the love is so unreal, Trump said. So those were among the comments that Trump was making on Newsmax last night. Trump also saying he's willing to debate Kamala Harris. He was asked by Bill Melugin of Fox News during a conference call about debates, and Trump said, absolutely, I'd want to. I think it's important. He said, I'd be willing to do more than one debate, actually, Trump said. He said, I haven't agreed to anything. I agreed to a debate with Joe Biden, but he is saying he would love to do multiple debates with Kamala Harris moving forward. Also, the Secret Service now has asked Trump not to hold large outdoor rallies in some circumstances following this the assassination attempt here recently. And Donald Trump has held a number of large outdoor rallies, and in fact, he enjoys doing that, and that's kind of been his signature. These large outdoor rallies. It's very much Donald Trump, and so Secret Service then is encouraging him to decide on a case-by-case basis whether to hold an event indoors or outdoors. That there would be greater security for Trump than indoors versus some of these outdoor rallies. So they're encouraging Trump to do that. I haven't seen any reaction from Trump or the Trump team regarding this. I already shared the comments that he made to on Newsmax yesterday. And Trump, again, he noted that Secret Service has beefed up his security. He said they should have beefed it up before. So Secret Service encouraging Trump to hold fewer outdoor rallies. Also, Donald Trump on Friday will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's in the country. He will meet with Netanyahu on Friday in Palm Beach. And so Netanyahu is in Washington and apparently not being well received. I don't know. I was following this. I was on X yesterday, and the president, of course, the president is recovering from COVID, we have been told. So the president wasn't there. Kamala Harris, vice president, wasn't there. So I don't know who it was that actually greeted him. There were a couple of people on the tarmac that greeted Netanyahu. Looked to be very informal, and it was no one that I recognized that was there greeting Netanyahu yesterday. In fact, Politico had a story they posted late yesterday, and the response from Washington on Netanyahu's visit, Politico on their head, Netanyahu. Yeah, that's kind of been the response. Also, the Trump campaign has filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission yesterday, accusing Vice President Kamala Harris and the president of violating campaign finance laws over Kamala received $91.5 million of Biden's war chest, according to the New York Times. So Trump is, I don't know what will become of that. But also, speaking of Kamala Harris, everybody's going nuts because of her brat persona. And even, and I'm like, brat? It's news to me as it is to many, because as I looked at some of the legacy media reports about this whole brat thing, apparently this is coming from British singer Charlie XCX, and she's known for this, and it's a song that she did called Brat that went viral, and so they're using they got the rights to that. And Charlie XCX said Kamala is brat. And so they redid Kamala's webpage, and this lime green, and So maybe that doesn't make any sense to you at a glance, didn't make any sense to me. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's all right. So that story, it's actually trending this morning as well. A lot of these trending stories, I look at this stories that are trending and I'm like, seriously. I mean, but that's where you talk about, especially this is popular with younger voters, and the reaction to Kamala and this brat thing has just been huge for Kamala Harris. We're going to talk this morning about a decision, and you likely have heard about this. It's been, I would have talked about this sooner, in fact, but events have just been such over the last couple of days that we've not been able to get to it. But the Gettysburg School District is doing something incredibly different. They announced on Sunday a new phone policy where students will put their phones, their smartwatches, their Bluetooth devices in magnetic locked pouches for the day. And they announced this on social media on Sunday, saying it'll be a device-free learning environment. And I'm curious to get your take on that. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, I posted that question earlier this morning. No more phones in the Gettysburg School District. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on phones in schools, on these electronic devices in schools. What's your perspective on that? You can drop me an email, of course, anytime. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com is my email address. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com. We'll open up the phone lines coming up a little bit later this morning. Get your thoughts on it. Very interesting, I think. I'm curious to get your reaction. And again, I posted that question on Facebook earlier this morning. Also coming up this morning, we will visit with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. She will join us coming up this morning at about 7:35. And the big thing on her mind will be the American hostages that are being held by Hamas. She's going to be speaking on the Senate floor. And in fact, she may have done this. She did this, I think, yesterday, that she spoke on the Senate floor yesterday. And then she's holding a press conference today before Benjamin Netanyahu then addresses Congress. So we'll talk to Iowa Senator Joni Ernst about that. Also, have got to talk to her. I mean, there are a lot of things that have happened here in the last, even just in the last few days. We've got the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. We have got the president dropping out of the race. So at least I've got to touch on those things, especially considering the fact that her fellow senator, Chuck Grassley, has released this video from the roof that law enforcement took. And so much for the sloped roof. Okay, this footage that's set, have you seen it? The sloped roof. Oh man, that is an absolute joke. I mean, I think now we see just how you've got law enforcement standing up. Now, again, first of all, the shooter was up there. Shooter managed to get up there, and so law enforcement standing up there. And I watched this video several minutes. And again, the roof. Now, when you say it's sloped, it's not like it's a big angle that you can't stand on. It's really the roof was ridged. So you can't stand on it flat. In other words, you can't stand flatly on it. You would, it's got bumps. But you could stand there easily. You lay down up there even more easily. So the idea then that this was a sloped roof, I think the video that Senator Grassley released on X yesterday really kind of dispels that whole, notion to begin with. Not that any of us believed it anyway, but it was pretty incredible. So we'll get into all of that and more this morning, but that's a quick look at the big stories this morning on the Greg Belfrage Show. Thank you so much, my friend, for letting me join you this morning. It is 6:25 currently at Kello. We've got some cloudy skies, some fog again this morning, and 66. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Hey, I want to remind you about the Rise and Shine Blood Drive coming up this Friday morning, 6:30 to 11 a.m. at Camille's Sidewalk Cafe at 41st and Grange. Everybody who makes a donation of blood will receive free breakfast from Camille's. You'll get 2 movie tickets and a stainless steel logo travel tumbler. That's something new at the Rise and Shine Blood Drive this year. So we hope you'll be able to join us this Friday morning, 6:30 to 11 a.m. at Camille's Sidewalk Cafe at 41st and Grange. If you want more information, just go to cbblifeblood.org and click on events. 626. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Weekend 6 to 9 p.m. Kello. NewsTalk.
All right, we're underway. Coming up, we'll run down stories that are trending this morning. Hey, please, anytime you want to share your thoughts with me, feel free to drop me an email. My email's always open to you. greg.belfrage@kelo.com is my email address. And for those watching on YouTube, my name's right on the screen. So it's greg.belfrage@kelo.com. And I love getting your emails. So coming up, we'll run down stories that are trending for you. We'll also have a look at local news, both local and national news headlines coming up. Always have a big stack of stuff to sort out. Be interesting to see what President Biden's got to say tonight and what kind of shape he is in. I mean, if you've been watching X, for those of you who are on X, I mean, it's like Biden's dead. Has been all but dead. The conversation has been on X, and it's like, let's all take a breath. Let's just kind of. You know what we do here, and you might be new to the Greg Belfrage Show. I should talk about this actually on air. Is, I talk about events that are going on. I don't make predictions about I think this will happen, or my predictions are not worth anything. Seriously. But what I do is I follow events that are going on and what's happening. And I tell you about things that are happening so that you can be well informed and draw your own conclusions. And I wish the legacy media did more of that, but okay.
Hazy skies once again today. High temperature 86 in the Sioux Falls area. East wind at 5 to 10. For tonight, partly cloudy, low 64. Tomorrow, heating up to 88 in the afternoon. Southeast winds will begin to pick up. We'll even have more wind out of the south on Friday. Hot and humid.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:29, cloudy skies, some fog, and 66 currently at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning, and coming up here in just a few moments, Joe says that Minnehaha County will not be moving toward restructuring county government There's been some strong public pushback regarding that. So Joe will have those details. Also, Attorney General Marty Jackley is against the Biden administration's plan to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance. Also, Sioux Falls police say that they handed out over 100 citations to reckless or speeding drivers over the weekend. Oh, that's got to be worth talking about. What's going on in Sioux Falls on Sioux Falls Street. So Joe will have details on those stories coming up for you in moments. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
I'm Therese Crowley. Another historic day. President Biden gives an Oval Office address tonight on what lies ahead after ending his re-election bid. And at the Capitol already, mass Gaza protests with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu to speak before a joint meeting of Congress. VP Kamala Harris will not preside. Presidential candidate Donald Trump posting he looks forward to meeting Israel's leader Friday and achieving peace in the Middle East. FBI Director Wray testifies on the Bureau's investigation of the Trump assassination attempt. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has resigned. Now the agency reported recommending the former president keep his rallies indoors. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna tells Fox.
This was obviously a lapse in judgment for Secret Service, and I do believe that if they assign the proper details and also they do their jobs, he will continue to be able to do.
America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Minnehaha County will not be moving toward restructuring county government following strong public pushback. The Home Rule Charter would have eliminated the elected offices of Treasurer, Auditor, and Register of Deeds. Treasurer Chris Swanson and Auditor Lee Anderson spoke out in front of the commission.
I didn't even hear about this except to a third party. I just think that is such a power grab.
If you have a problem with me and the way that I conduct my office, then I think you should come and visit me.
Commissioner Joe Kipley, who proposed the change, conceded this is not the time.
I don't like giving into a heckler's veto on when we bring up an idea. But if there's a view that this is all about the auditor, then I think the public should just have that vote in 2026.
Kipley says the idea could be reconsidered in the future during a different election cycle. South Dakota Attorney General Marty Jackley is against the Biden administration's plan to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance. He's joined 11 other AGs submitting a public letter opposing the plan. Jackley says if the drug is reclassified, it will not impact the way local authorities enforce state laws. The Sioux Falls Police Department says it handed out over 100 citations to reckless or speeding drivers over the weekend. During a saturation patrol on Saturday, officers wrote 114 citations, 74 of them for speeding. Officer Sam Clemens says the highest speed they clocked was 102 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone near 26th Street and Ellis Road. The skies over South Dakota continue to be a bit hazy due to wildfire smoke. The fires are currently scorching portions of Canada, and winds are bringing smoke into our region. Air quality is currently listed as moderate. The smoke is likely to remain elevated through today, which can cause some breathing issues for the elderly or those with asthma. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Hazy sunshine once again for Sioux Falls today. Our high temperature 86 with an east wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tonight, low temperature at 64, partly cloudy. And tomorrow, warming up to 88, partly cloudy skies and a southeast wind. Looks like our weather forecast by Friday near 90. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
What was that?
I just want to bring up a point here.
This is where to go when you've got something to say.
You have to tell these people what they want to know.
Kello, News Talk 1320.
I have to wonder if they're, the number of stories surrounding Kamala Harris that are trending and have been trending the last few days has got to say something about the excitement among a number of, Democrats about Kamala Harris, that they're rejuvenated and
provide them with a steady flow of visitors and advertising dollars are in big trouble.
Just a year ago, a Google search.
It'll be interesting to see what
but now a staggering 60% of
how this race continues, though.
Google's AI provides the answer.
She has a hard time keeping her foot out of her mouth.
People have no need to go any further. Website ad revenues are down drastically as fewer and fewer visitors see the ads.
So you wonder if she's going to be more like Joe Biden and start relying a lot more heavily on the teleprompter rather than just speaking off the cuff.
Attention small business owners, are you tired of juggling multiple systems to manage your business? You don't have to do that anymore. Simplify your life with NetSuite. It's the #1 cloud financial system. Here's why. NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all into one platform, providing you one source of truth. Imagine reducing your IT costs and cutting the expense of maintaining multiple systems. You see, with SimplySafe, you can easily improve efficiency by consolidating all of your major business processes. Say goodbye to manual tasks and errors. Join over 37,000 companies already benefiting from NetSuite. And here's some really exciting news. By popular demand, NetSuite has
It's amazing. There are all these stories about Kamala Harris, and those are the stories trending. And stories regarding the president are nowhere. I mean, story is trending that he's giving the speech tonight, but just nothing regarding him.
Saturday mornings at 9. NewsTalk 13.
I mean, Democrats have gotten rid of him quicker than just amazing. Says something about the loyalty of.
We exceed them. We don't just follow best practices, we set them. With Mitchell Roofing and Siding, you're not just choosing a service provider, you're choosing a partner who's relentless in the pursuit of perfection. A partner who believes in getting better every single day. Together, we're not just building roofs, we're building a legacy of betterment for generations to come. Here's to the future where we continue to get better together. Mitchell Roofing and Siding, call us today.
All right.
8648.
Get the latest updates for your kitchen.
Catch up with the latest news every morning, everywhere you've got a smart speaker.
Just say, Alexa, play Kello NewsTalk.
Or download our free app at Kello.com and let Greg Belfrage join you for breakfast every weekday morning.
Please.
NewsTalk 1320 107.9.
Big transmission problem or minor repair. Takes a specialist to know. And that's why I have recommended the specialists at Jim's National Transmission for years. I've been sharing their story of the work they do. They're downtown at 4th and Weber. When you're having transmission problems, it's always best if you go to a specialist. You see, most auto repair places are just going to replace your transmission, and that will cost you 50 to 70% more than if you went to a transmission specialist. So do yourself a favor, save yourself time and money, and take your vehicle to the team at Jim's Transmission. They know all the ins and outs of automatic transmission diagnosis. Jim's Transmission, the transmission-only specialist, where transmissions are all they do. Find them downtown. They're at 4th and Weber. And check out their website. You'll find coupons and specials there and their phone number so you can give them a call. It's jimsautotrans.com. jimsautotrans.com. Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber. .39, cloudy skies, a little bit of fog, 66. And you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour of the show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris held the first rally of her presidential campaign yesterday. She was in Wisconsin, one of the battleground states, obviously. She told the crowd that Donald Trump wants to take the country backward. And she referred to her background as a prosecutor, told the crowd that I took on perpetrators of all kinds, predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say I know Donald Trump's type. That drove Democrats and Kamala supporters crazy. She said her campaign is focused on the future while Trump's is focused on the past, she said. Also, Kamala Harris has reported raising more than $100 million since the president dropped out of the race. So $100 million. And MSNBC says Black women propelled a massive donor surge for Kamala Harris. And they had raised more than $1.5 million on Sunday night. So more than 44,000 people joined a Zoom call featuring activists and influencers, and Black women were some of the most vocal critics then of the campaign to get Joe Biden to withdraw from the race. So there's a lot of enthusiasm now among Democrats. So she raised, I think, $81 million in 24 hours. And now at this point, more than $100 million that Kamala Harris has raised. Also, Kamala Harris has enough Democratic delegates to secure the nomination, according to an AP survey. And there are a number of stories that are out there. I mean, New York Post says that she's got enough delegates now to become the party's presidential nominee. Also, as we look at endorsements, the top two Democrats in Congress have announced they're getting behind Kamala Harris. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries held a news conference yesterday because there had been a lot of speculation as to what Democrats would. They've been kind of slowly now coming out, and Schumer said, now that the process is played out from the grassroots, bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. What does he mean about grassroots support from the bottom up? Because Democrat voters voted for Joe Biden. So when did they cast their votes? Not aware of that. Their votes have been tossed in the trash can. So what is Chuck Schumer talking about? So also Kamala Harris has overhauled her campaign's online presence by embracing his social media trend that is inspired by Charlie XCX's Brat album cover. And her rebrand comes as then Charlie showed her support by tweeting, Kamala is Brat. And so by Monday morning, Kamala Harris and her team had seized on Charlie's backing, with their social media accounts sporting a new lime green photo in the style of the Brat album cover. And that's where it comes from. So there's a lot of, and this is really taking aim at millennials and Gen Z social media users, that they understand this and where it's coming from, and that's who apparently then Kamala Harris is trying to younger voters, trying to make an appeal to them. All right, other stories that are trending this morning. The Pennsylvania Police Commissioner says the Secret Service wouldn't share the operations plan for the day of the attempted assassination. So the Pennsylvania State Police were speaking before the House Committee on Homeland Security yesterday, and they said that the Secret Service has refused to release, again, this is the Pennsylvania Police Commissioner, the Secret Service has refused to release to him the operations plan they had for the day of the attempted assassination. This is Colonel Christopher L. Paris. He said he had asked for the Secret Service operations plan for the day, but had yet to receive it. And Republican Representative Michael Guest of Mississippi said the fact that the Secret Service is stonewalling your investigation, that they're not providing you this information. We saw the testimony yesterday from the Secret Service director where she refused to answer questions and has now resigned. I find that to be especially troubling. We have the Secret Service not wanting to cooperate with Congress, not wanting to cooperate with a fellow law enforcement agency, and I personally find that troubling. Do you think anything will change at Secret Service? So Cheadle is out, but will anything change? Apparently it didn't yesterday. So, also the president will address the country tonight from the Oval Office. He'll be talking about his decision to drop his re-election bid. So this will be, he'll be speaking from the Oval Office tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. 7 p.m. Central. So he declined to preview his message, and he was asked by reporters about this, and he just told them to watch and listen. He said, why don't you wait and hear what I say? So the president, really being elusive here, will know more tonight. Also, Donald Trump has said that Taiwan should pay the U.S. for protection from China. And he made these comments recently, and now you have the you've got Taiwan's newly appointed foreign minister reacting to this. And he underscored Taiwan's commitment to self-defense. Then he talked about Taiwan's increase in military spending from 2% to 2.5% of its GDP over the past 8 years. There are plans for further increases, so responding to the comments that Donald Trump had made that Taiwan should pay the U.S. for protection. This is a crazy story from Michigan. Some young man in Michigan who allegedly ran over an elderly man with an ATV in what police say were politically motivated incidents. Yeah, the guy was out putting Trump signs in yards, right? Or he was out there putting out Trump signs. And this guy on an ATV then ran him over. And police say they were contacted by a man on Monday and said they wanted to confess a crime involving an ATV driver within the last 24 hours. And the man instructed police then to send someone to pick me up. So police showed up. They found a 22-year-old man dead from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound. So then they got a search warrant for the home, and they retrieved several electronic devices, found the ATV that was used and the clothing that the man had worn. So the police responded to 3 incidents that they say the victims displayed political yard signs for Donald Trump, as well as law enforcement appreciation flags and stickers. And then as part of that, he went on and not only to mow down the yard signs, and my understanding is he ran over an 80-year-old man who was putting up a political sign in his front yard. So he intentionally drove through the yard, ran over this 80-year-old man. He was taken to a local hospital in critical condition. And then the young guy responsible, apparently, for this took his own life. The Justice Department said late Monday in a court filing that they do, in fact, have transcripts of President Biden's interviews with the biographer. Initially, they denied it. They said they did not have them. And now in a court filing, they have admitted that, in fact, yes, they do have them. Isn't that interesting that now that the president has withdrawn from the race, suddenly the Justice Department has these? Oh, it turns out we located them. We didn't know. Also, the federal government has launched an investigation into Delta Airlines. According to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, he said they opened an investigation because Delta has canceled over 4,000 flights since Friday. He wants to make sure the airline is following the law, taking care of its passengers. They've had continued widespread disruptions. Buttigieg said, all airline passengers had the right to be treated fairly, and I will make sure that right is upheld. Delta said it's fully cooperating with the department. So this comes one day after Buttigieg said that hundreds of complaints regarding service disruptions at Delta had been filed. Also trending this morning, House Speaker Mike Johnson announced yesterday that he and Democrat Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are creating a bipartisan task force to investigate the security failures surrounding the assassination attempt then against Donald Trump. And so they announced a House task force made up of 7 Republicans and 6 Democrats, he said, to thoroughly investigate the matter. The task force will have subpoena authority and will move quickly, he said, to find the facts, ensure accountability, and make certain such failures never happen again. We've got Benjamin Netanyahu arriving in Washington to address Congress. And this just coincidentally now occurring as the president has resigned. And this is crazy. There was a piece at Politico, and the headline is Netanyahu, Washington gives Israeli leader the cold shoulder. Some aides on Capitol Hill say they forgot Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was visiting this week. Yeah, it has been kind of a crazy. I mentioned this earlier, but it is trending. Kimberly Cheadle resigning from the Secret Service yesterday, and that really, she had apparently informed people in the agency via email. So she resigned yesterday. Also, Elon Musk is denying now reports that he's giving millions of dollars a month to Donald Trump's campaign. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal last week that Musk was committing $45 million a month to Donald Trump. And during an interview that Musk did, he said the newspaper report's not true. He said what's been reported in the media is simply not true. I am not donating $45 million a month to Trump. Musk said, yes, he did indeed create the America PAC in July, but says it's not meant to be a hyper-partisan PAC that donates big dollars to conservatives. The intent is to promote the principles that made America great in the first place, he said. So he's pushing back on the claims that is, so who he's going to be supporting. As I've said many times, Elon Musk is a different kind of cat. He really is. And those are the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Really great to have you along this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I do appreciate it. Currently, we've got Fog and 66 this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, my friend, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Please hit the like button, hit the dislike button, just react. I'm having an increasingly difficult time getting people to react to the stuff that whether I'm posting it on Facebook or, but please take the time to hit the like button, especially if you're taking the time to watch. Very, very much appreciated. So please join me for the after show coming up on YouTube this morning at 9:30. So we'll look at new events this morning. If there are new headlines, I will share those with you coming up this morning at 9:30. Anyway, thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. You take care. So long until tomorrow, my friend, and may God bless.